Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into a pretty dense stack of sources, all focused on how higher education is changing. Specifically, this idea of the full stack digital university.
That's right. And our mission really is to unpack what Eon Reality is claiming with their next-gen virtual campus custom. Because this isn't just about, putting courses online.
Right.
It's framed as building a whole virtual setup, something that they say can genuinely stand side by side with traditional universities or even replace those simpler online course providers.
Okay, so let's zero in on that core idea. The hook seems to be this digital university in a box. Sounds ambitious. What's maybe the most fundamental thing we need to grasp right away?
I think it's the integration, how they've fused everything together. You got the immersive, the XR, the AI mentors, all that. But then they've bolted on the critical admin pieces, things like accreditation-ready student records, assessments that actually hold water, and even career placement stuff.
All on one platform.
Exactly. And they claim that integration is why they can offer it all for, well, a fraction of what traditional models cost.
Yeah.
It's about tackling the entire academic journey, you see,
Wow.
not just showing lessons.
A full stack, delivered cheap.
Yep.
That's a bold claim indeed. Now, some people might know Eon Reality's older virtual campuses. What makes this next gen? What's the real leap forward here?
Good question. The previous versions were, well, pretty solid, but mostly about the content delivery. Immersive lessons, hard skills, soft skills, maybe brainy AI helping out. It's more like a high-tech training engine.
Okay.
The next-gen version, though, it's aiming to be a complete academic ecosystem. The leap is from just teaching to actually certifying and maybe even accrediting. They've added those essential layers, the compliance workflows, better assessment integrity, and credentials you can actually verify.
And the sources really push the efficiency angle, mentioning this campus in a box idea and instant course creation. How does that actually work? Taking a bunch of PDFs and slides and turning them into an immersive curriculum instantly. Sounds almost too easy.
Well, instantly might be a bit strong, but the idea is to slash the setup time. A university uploads its existing stuff, syllabi, PowerPoints, learning goals, and the AI then processes it, creating these train AI documents in basic microsites. It basically structures the raw information so it's ready for deploying XR lessons and AI interview scripts. It's meant to cut down months of development time to something much, much faster.
But, just creating courses quickly isn't the whole story if you want credibility. Traditional universities have these huge, complex student information systems, SIS or ERPs. How does this Light they mentioned stack up? Is it really trying to replace those behemoths?
That's a key point. No, it's not designed to replace a massive state university's entire back end, handling payroll and millions of records and all that. It's much more focused. It targets the specific admin functions you absolutely need for academic legitimacy and compliance within this digital context.
Okay, like what specifically?
Things like managing enrollments properly, handling transcripts, generating compliance reports. And importantly, this system is what issues the official transcript PDFs, the ones with QR codes for verification. And it links up with open badges too. It's the part that makes the digital achievement feel, well, official.
Right, which brings us straight to maybe the biggest hurdle for online learning, assessment integrity. If I'm doing this at home, how do they make sure I actually did the work? And the grade means something, not just me looking up answers.
Yeah, this is where they claim a major advantage over standard online quizzes. They use what they call a high-integrity, three-stream assessment model. The idea is to make cheating kind of pointless because you have to prove your stuff in 3 different ways.
Okay, walk us through that. How are those streams weighted? What are they actually measuring?
So the biggest chunk, 50% of the grade, is based purely on XR performance. Did you actually do the task correctly in the simulation? Like the virtual surgery or fixing the virtual engine. It tracks your actions. Then 25% is what they call a brainy viva, basically an AI-driven interview. It probes your understanding, asks you to apply concepts, defend your reasoning verbally, and the final 25% is a more traditional written exam just to cover that baseline knowledge recall.
Let me push on that 50% for XR performance, though. We're talking virtual actions. How confident can we be that someone who's great at the simulation can actually do it in the real world? Are we just making expert gamers?
That's definitely the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the sources suggest they tackle it in 2 ways. First, they argue the high-fidelity simulations let you practice complex or dangerous stuff repeatedly, which is hard or expensive to do for real. Second, that 50% weight is a deliberate signal, especially to employers. It says this person demonstrably executed the skill step by step, which is data you just don't get from a multiple choice test. The performance data is supposed to be super granular, tracking movements, timing, errors. It shifts the focus from just remembering facts to actually doing the thing.
Okay, so it's less about one final exam and more a combined picture. You did it, you explained it, and you know the basics, and after all that, the student gets their certificate.
Exactly. The EON certificate gets issued automatically. And this also helps with transferring credits, potentially. They mentioned pathways for formal recognition with partner universities. And crucially, these digital credentials live in secure wallets, and they're blockchain ready. So an employer doesn't need to call anyone. They could just instantly verify it's legit.
We've talked a lot about AI and automation here, but this is still education. You can't just take the people out entirely, can you? How does this system keep the human touch? Where's the faculty in the loop they mention?
Right. It's not meant to be purely robotic. The faculty role kind of shifts. They're less about delivering lectures and more about quality control and handling the tricky bits, the human oversight. They deal with appeals. If a student disputes an assessment or needs support, the AI just can't handle. They still hold office hours, that kind of thing. And interestingly, they get tools to calibrate the AI assessments to make sure Brainy is testing the right things effectively for their specific subject. They provide that human validation.
So faculty are like the guardians of quality and the escalation point. Makes sense. Now let's connect that validated skill to the ultimate goal for many students, getting a job. If the assessment is solid, how does this platform help with career services?
This is another area where that integration is key. They try to make a really tight link between what you learn and prove and what employers are looking for. Instead of just a resume listing course names, the student's portfolio gets automatically built from their performance data. Every successful XR task, every transcript from an AI interview
Becomes concrete proof of a skill.
precisely. Objective data, not just self-claims. And then the platform apparently has built-in dashboards for employers. Recruiters can search directly for specific verified skills and credentials, maybe bypassing traditional degree filters sometimes. Plus, they mention things like integrated job boards and mentorship programs right inside the virtual campus. It aims to tackle that "I got the certificate, now what?" problem head-on.
Okay, thinking bigger now, a full-stack university needs to work everywhere. The sources mentioned a big technical shift for global reach.
Yeah, this is pretty important. They've moved from being primarily desktop-first to a mobile-first approach. The whole thing is delivered as a progressive web app, a PWA, which basically acts like a native phone app but runs through the browser. It uses less data and, crucially, supports offline caching.
Ah, offline caching. That must be vital if you're dealing with heavy XR content in places with flaky internet, right? How does that work? Does the fancy 3D stuff just stop?
It uses what they call adaptive fidelity scaling, which is quite clever, actually. If you've got great internet, you get the full, rich 3D immersive experience. If your connection is weak, it automatically scales down to maybe 2D interactive elements, clicking and dragging instead of walking around, perhaps. And if your connection is really bad or gone, there's even a text-based fallback so you can keep learning the core concepts. The key is you can often do work offline, and then the PWA syncs your progress automatically when you get back online. So bad infrastructure doesn't have to stop you.
And beyond just connectivity, what about language and accessibility?
Yeah, they cover that too. Multi-language support is built in for text, AI scripts, even the labels on virtual objects in XR. And they stress compliance with WCAG 2.1 AA accessibility standards, aiming to make it usable for as many people as possible worldwide.
Let's make this more concrete. Can we look at some specific examples from the sources? How does this play out in practice? Maybe start with a traditional university course.
Okay, yeah. Take a standard university English course, grammar, rhetoric, that sort of thing. Upload the syllabus. Instead of just reading texts, the platform might spin up interactive XR grammar exercises. And you might have debates with brainy AI avatars, getting real-time feedback on your arguments. The outcome isn't just a grade, it's a record in that SESLite showing you applied communication skills, backed by that verifiable EON certificate.
Turning passive learning into active practice. Okay, what about vocational training? That often needs expensive gear.
This is maybe the most compelling use case they push. Think about technical skills mechanics, forensics, nursing, where physical labs cost a fortune. A college, maybe in a region with fewer resources, can use the platform's XR simulators. Students practice on virtual machinery, run virtual forensic tests, handle virtual patients. They complete these missions, get certified, and that performance data builds their portfolio. It dramatically lowers the barrier to entry for high-skill training. Needs just a mobile device, essentially.
Democratizing access, basically. And what about the corporate world? upskilling employees.
Yeah, for corporate upskilling, it's about efficiency and tracking. Companies can take their standard operating procedures, safety manuals, compliance docs,
Hmm.
and turn them into interactive XR training modules. Employees practice the procedures virtually, get quizzed by Brainy, do the written checks, and the managers get that SIS dashboard view. They can see instantly who's certified, who's compliant across the whole workforce. Plus, the employees get a portable credential out of it too.
So, summing up their competitive argument, why do they think this integrated approach gives them an edge over, say, Coursera or even universities trying to build their own XR labs?
It seemed to come down to two things. First, the sheer depth of that integration, having the XR, the AI, the assessment, the SIS, the career stuff, all talking to each other natively. It's not just bolted together. Second, their track record. They emphasize their 22-plus years focused purely on XR for learning, and that network of, over 4,000 academic partners they've built up. It suggests they understand the educational context, not just the tech.
This has been a really insightful deep dive into how this vision of education is being built piece by piece. If you had to boil down the key takeaway for the learner, what does this shift towards a full stack digital university really mean for them?
I think it signals a move away from just passively receiving information from PDFs or static videos. It promises a more unified experience where learning is active, skills are verifiably demonstrated through performance, assessment has more integrity, and it's all directly connected to potential career outcomes
Yeah.
and accessible pretty much anywhere.
Which connects right back to why you, our listener, might care. Finding faster, more effective ways to gain real knowledge and skills, cutting through the noise, and getting credentials that actually mean something in the job market.
Exactly. Which leads us to maybe a provocative final thought for you to chew on. Given that this model claims to offer a rigorous, accredited, career-focused education at a significantly lower cost and can reach anyone with a smartphone, what does that imply about the future necessity and the current cost structure of traditional physical university campuses over, say, the next 10 years? Something to think about.
Definitely something to ponder. We'll leave it there for this deep dive.